So you guys have been spamming me for a week now to talk about this video. Xanderhal is not your ally. Now, I thought about watching it at first, then I realized it's an hour and a half long, and then I said, fuck that. The consensus has been, it is without a doubt, inarguably, 100%, the worst hit piece ever made on a lefty content creator. Now, I knew it was bad from the thumbnail. I knew it was bad just by looking at the people this person features in their, in their Mule Loves Go Watch These People section. Let's go over these individuals. So first we have Sophie from Mars, who has repeatedly backed up the allegations, the false allegations that were made up by Thought Slime that I had a sex cult. Which were based on claims that were in and of themselves debunked as untrue and had nothing to do with sex cults or sexual abuse. So he really just kind of pulled Thought Slime, who's also on the list, of course, pulled that out of his ass, and Sophie from Mars backed it up and continues to hold by it, as does Thought Slime. They've yet to apologize, and I don't expect them to, nor do I want them to apologize, because they are pieces of shit, and the longer they refuse to apologize for, the worse they look. And, that's good. Bad Bunny, who is a known grifter. Bad Bunny, now obviously a lot of people, she goes by Kira Chats now, so that's why she's called that now, but she's Bad Bunny, is how you might know her. Bad Bunny, aka Kira Chats, she changed her name to avoid the controversy, has a storied history of racism and bigotry, both on-stream and off-stream. You can look up Bad Bunny / Kira Chat logs if you want to see. Some of them are as recent as like last year and like a year and a half ago. But what I find to be the most damning really isn't necessarily all of the tweets and all of the messages of her being racist and bigoted and homophobic and what have you. It's the messages where she explicitly says she's going to grift as a lefty streamer for as long as it makes her money. And that is backed up by the fact that she is an extraordinarily huge clout chaser who will play friendly with anybody she can gain prominence from until they do anything that pisses her off. And then they will she'll just, you are the worst person in the world all of a sudden. It really is bizarre how quickly she'll flip on it. I don't know who this person is. I don't care. Thought Slime, Professor Flowers, believes in genocide. Luna Oi is a tanky. And just generally very, very cringe. There's not really much I can say about Luna Oi besides that, really. I'm trying to remember. Didn't Luna Oi... Yeah, Luna Oi called Vosh a enemy of the revolution. Didn't she do that? Was it that Vosh that she called an enemy of the revolution? Or was it... Who was it that she called that? Believes in genocide? No. As in believes in genocide. Professor Flowers believes that there should be, like, segregation and genocide of like, for one, she does believe in segregation of white and black people here in America, but not only that, but she also believes in denies the genocide, she is in favor of a hypothetical genocide of white people under certain circumstances if they are, in her mind, justified by colonialism or whatever. She believes that genocidal action taken by colonized people against the ancestors, like not the ancestors, the children's children, like the newer generation of the like who were once colonial oppressors is justified because of the actions of those white people's ancestors. She has explicitly stated this, that it would be anti-colonialist action, not genocide, even though it is by definition genocide. I don't know who this is. We've got Sean, then we've got FD Signifier, the dumb fuck. I don't know who this guy is. Noah Sampson, who I maintain a tenuous armistice with, to say the least. And Tara Mukni. I don't know who this is. Yeah, there we go. Those are the people that I got my first little intro into the friend group of this guy with. I just decided I wasn't going to cover this video because it's a smaller channel and not worth giving the attention. But then out of nowhere, yesterday, I woke up to everybody covering it. Merrick covered it. Shark covered it, I think. Demon Mama covered it. Destiny covered it. Vosh covered it. Like, everybody was covering this thing. I was like, fuck, oh my god. All right, I guess, I mean, I wasn't even going to watch it in the first place because I knew it was going to be trash, but Dylan covered it apparently. But all right, I mean, I'll go. I've been getting messages from YouTubers that aren't even political YouTubers that saw it and are like, holy fuck, that hit piece against you was garbage. I was like, oh my God. So like everybody was like dunking on this video and I was like, oh my God. Now, obviously, I'm not going to retread the same ground they already had. Like that they already have. If you want to see them take down the video, I highly recommend you watch one of the other takedowns of it because frankly, giving this guy a direct response to his video, I think gives him the exact amount of attention that he wants. I think he wants me to cover it. I think he wants me to affirm him. And I think he wants me to give his channel attention. So that's not what I'm going to do. Motherfuckers stealing your kill. No, that's not even what it is. They're just killing him for me. You know, like they're just handling it for me. You know, I don't even have to go after him. I can just sort of, sit back and point at how... What I really want to do, actually, isn't really point at how funny it is that other people have found this takedown, this hit piece so bad that they've gone out of their way to dunk on it themselves. Because I haven't, like, told anybody to cover this, by the way. Like, I literally woke up from, like, a degenerate night of watching The Walking Dead and playing video games with my friends in Discord and drinking Monster Energy and getting high. I like woke up and all of a sudden everyone's covering this shit or plans to. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here. I just woke up. Like, why is Twitter's talking about me? Why do I have 30 notifications right now? Because yeah. I want to talk about not how hilarious it is that this guy's getting BTFO'd. I don't think there really needs to be any more fuel thrown into that fire at this point. What I really want to talk about is the general derangement there has been towards me that is, I would argue, somewhat unique to me in this space. Now, everybody who does this gets attacked by the rightoids, the conservatives, the woke scolds, what have you. But I feel like there's been a somewhat unique type of criticism that I've gotten that stems from one of the more unique factors of my story as a content creator. I want to talk about where I think the basis of Xanderhal derangement syndrome comes from. I'm going to be doing a little bit of armchair psychoanalysis. But you know what? The people that I'm talking about right now would not... they psychoanalyze me all the fucking time. And so I really could not care less. I've noticed, especially since like 2020, that the vast majority of criticisms against me have been framed and expressed as if they were moral condemnations of me doing something objectively and explicitly wrong, bad, morally harmful. That is the way that I am spoken of. And yet, I find that time and time again, the most valid criticisms of me and the biggest mistakes that I genuinely make are mistakes born out of... They're either small mistakes that have no general like harm that is like tangibly caused, or just I made a mistake about a simple fact or a simple like issue. They're little petty call-outs and clips, and most of the criticism seems to boil down to this mindset of Xanderhal lacks too much experience to deserve his platform. That really does feel like it's the overwhelming mindset behind the criticism towards me. You have to understand, I started doing YouTube literally months after I finished high school, at 18 years old. I started doing politics and live streaming a year later, at 19. I did not go to college, couldn't afford to if I wanted to, so I don't have a higher education, and the education that I do have or from school, is from Floridian Public School. And a year out of that, I started doing politics. Now, some people have heard me make this point in brief before and have said, this is Xanderhal making excuses for himself. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm simply pointing out that the vast majority of content creators in this space that have even achieved a fraction of the success that I have, not to toot my own horn, but most people who try to do what I've done do not reach where I've reached. And I'm not saying I've reached that far, but I've made it pretty far for compared to most people who try to do what I've done. And yet, most people who've reached even a fraction of this level of popularity have a college education, a half-decade or more of life experience under their belt. Just a lot more going for them experientially than I did going into this whole thing. Now, for a long time, I thought that this would contribute a somewhat unique draw to my content. That a lot of people would see my content as this very unique case of, well, we actually get to see a debate bro grow here. If you go back to my very first debates, I was not capable of debate. Not even close. Not even fucking close was I a good debater. I wasn't even a competent debater. I wasn't even an okay debater, okay? But you know, I stuck to that motto. Sucking at something is the first step to being kind of sort of good at something. And eventually, after much practice which unfortunately had to be displayed to the broader internet, I got kind of sort of good at debating. And eventually I got what I'd consider to be kind of good at debating. And I'd say I'm pretty good at debating now at this point. But it took time, and it took practice. But all that time and all that practice and all those failures and all of those misses, every single bump in the way that otherwise would have, for most content creators, they would have gotten out of the way before they even started making content. I don't really have that. I'm just kind of doing that character development live in front of everybody, and that has oftentimes been where I find the vast majority of political-based call-outs on me come from. This idea that I don't deserve my platform because I don't have the knowledge, and I didn't have the knowledge going in. Now I constantly am learning new things and put my mind to learning new things and getting better at what I do, but that doesn't matter to people who expect you to reach a certain threshold the second they watch your content. And if you don't, you're a trash creator, and they throw you to the trash. A lot of the criticisms I've gotten over the last 3 years or so have come from people that I feel like are ex-fans of me who saw my old content, like back in 2019, were like, well, this guy's not really good at talking about stuff or debating. Fuck him. And to this day, they still hold that same opinion of me, despite their only interaction with my content having been back in 2019. And I'll admit, back in 2019, I could not for shit string together a coherent string of thoughts well. I was not very good at speaking or commentary back then. It's simply a practice makes perfect thing. And yet it feels like a lot of the people that dislike me are ex-fans of mine who either had a falling out with me or simply decided that I was dumb because they didn't like my level of knowledge or expertise at public speaking at the time. And that's really only something that time can fix. And I appreciate everybody who stuck around, and I appreciate everybody who does not use that as an excuse to dunk on me, my lack of prior political experience. I mean, hell, even the closest fellow content creator of this size who's my age in the space is Dylan Burns, and he was a political foreign policy he was a foreign policy what's the term I'm thinking for? Advisor for Mike Gravel. He was already the foreign policy advisor for Mike Gravel when he started making political content. So yeah, that's part of it. Here's the other part of it. I think a little bit of it is age. And I think that I think this extends also, and I've seen Dylan Burns also get this shit. That's why I brought him up. Both I and Dylan Burns, I think, get this unique-ish level of criticism in the political space, because I'm not going to make any excuses for any bad behavior on either of our parts or any mistakes that we've made, but I've seen people legitimately go on rants about Dylan Burns' sexuality. Am I the only one who's seen this? Literally, it really feels like the broader left-wing space cannot just shut up and let a literal, teenager to young 20s adult figure out his own sexuality. They're constantly trying to dig in and find contradictions and, just random things to try to claim that he's not really gay for the sake, and he's only claiming it for the sake of attention in political spaces. which is nonsense because Dylan Burns is the last person on Earth that uses his sexuality for attention. I've seen a lot of similar derangement towards Dylan Burns that seems to be based on nothing other than age, because that is the through line between these deranged criticisms that me and Dylan Burns get is our young age coming into this, and that's putting aside experience. It really does feel like a lot of the weird deranged obsession that comes from like towards me, and in many cases Dylan Burns as well, comes from ageism, but not the kind of ageism that like, you know, lefties usually talk about. It's really just like this younger men are an easy target for older men on the internet to dunk on politically, I guess, and so it feels like a machismo move. I know. Hey, you want to see a good example of this? Let's see it happen to Dylan in fucking real life. Pause threatens Dylan Burns. I was literally there in real life for this. This is how older men in this space who claim to be lefties and appropriate this stuff for their own gain think they can talk down to younger men in this space. Let's watch this clip. I was there in real life for this, okay? This is the real life version of the type of derangement that I get on the internet, okay? I was there in real life watching in the audience for this. I have to admit, I really, really wanted Dylan to backhand the fuck out of Haas with those rings in his hand, or like a good solid punch, like it would have... But Haas would have died if he'd done that, so it's probably a good thing he didn't. But regardless, let's continue. Oof. It decided to skip ahead. I apologize. I have to slow down the video. Here we go. Like, this is, to be fair, Haas is fucking crazy. Haas is fucking crazy, but Haas's craziness simply, in my opinion, masks and shields, or just acts as like a... or acts as an excuse, I guess, to many people for behavior that is shown in less extreme examples towards notably Dylan and I all the time. And there are other younger content creators online that get treated the same way, but in the political space, it's a bit more unique. So let's watch.
Listen.
The history of democracy.
That history of democracy was first you had the KMT.
The B movie is an amazing
So
movie.
why wasn't it? Why didn't that democracy movement extend to the mainland?
My God, you yell a lot for a guy who's dodging a boxing match.
I'm dodging the fucking boxing match.
Yes, you are.
Really? So you want me to dedicate 6 months of my time at the expense of my streaming career to train for fucking boxing?
Wait. You challenged Vosh and said since he didn't accept it.
No, I didn't.
Pussy.
Actually,
I got the
I did not. No.
You fucking coward.
Oh, really?
You
Look at this
coward.
fucking liar. This fucking liar going on record
You're a
saying
coward.
I challenged Vosh.
Yes, you did. You called him a pussy for not accepting it.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
First
you
of
did.
all, I'm scrolling to it. He says, let's have a boxing match. I'll do. I'm with my boy Jackson on his roof smoking a cigar. I get this fucking DM, let's have a boxing match. It'll be fun.
And then you
3 a.m. Then I said, okay, need 1 month minimum for training and promotion.
So you agreed.
That's reasonable.
You agreed.
You're right. But nobody told me you had experience.
Wait, so the problem is you...
Listen, hold on. It's not
Let's
something
do MMA
you...
then.
It's not just something
Let's do MMA then.
MMA's not a street fight either.
So literally, you're just saying let's go into an alleyway and fight, which you know I can't
If
do
you
because
want
I'm gonna
to...
go to
No,
prison.
I'm saying if you want to test my manhood, that's on you.
Well, I just think you're...
Listen, I'm not saying Haas isn't insane and hasn't gone on similar rants before, but I want you to imagine Haas is sitting here with Destiny. He would not do this with Destiny or with Vosh in real life or with like somebody above the age of 25. Haas thinks that he can shout down a like 19, 20, 21-year-old in person, just be like, oh, I'm big, I'm older than you, I'm good, let's have a street fight. He thinks that like he can talk down, like he would not do this to somebody who is older. He would not do this. He kind of did with the Destiny height thing though. No, he did not. He did not do this with Destiny and the height thing. I was there at the hotel when all of that happened. Destiny and Haas were joking around, taking photos together of like them standing back to back with the height thing. And Destiny is in fact like 1.5 inches or more taller than Haas. I did not recognize Haas at first because I was like, is that child has a beard? Holy fuck. Is that a kid with a beard? Oh my God. That's infrared. I didn't even know he was going to be here. No, in all like, to be completely serious, Frodo? No, in all seriousness, Haas did not like get up in Destiny's face like this and would not do it either. He would not do it to Vosh or like, frankly, like he was literally, I think, did other in-person debates there with people that were older and did not pull this kind of shit. This is the type of stuff that grown men who claim to be on the left online that want to play internet tough guy will try to do. They'll target like younger dudes because they feel like it's a show of masculinity. He said it right there. Do you want to test my manhood? Interesting choice of words.
You're a coward and you backed out of it because then you learn to know how to defend myself.
Why are you worth it to me?
Because you go around and you challenge all these people.
To
right?
what?
You challenge Bana Banata, for example. You challenge him. You said you go to Argentina.
Yeah.
Then I say I'll go to your city.
Because
your gym.
Fuck, I want that to happen. Please. Please. Please give us that. Please, God. If a God exists, listen, if a God exists, there's no other reason for him to have created the universe and all life in it other than for entertainment, okay? And you cannot tell me that Haas and Bada Banata throwing down would not be an entertaining show. That's what you know what? Frankly, I think people who believe in a God need to start praying to God with like making the argument that it would be more entertaining if God answered their prayers, okay? Because if there is a God, he ain't doing anything unless he thinks his like getting involved would be more entertaining, all right? That's my little rant. Start debating God as to why giving you $1 million lottery win would be more entertaining for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you accept my boxing match.
So it's worth it to me.
Out.
So somehow it's worth it to me.
You dodged it because you're a coward.
So let's continue.
You're not a real man. You just flex on the internet.
You look like a fat fuck.
All right.
Dylan knew exactly how to get at him there, by the way. Dylan knew exactly how to get at him there, and it was great.
All right. So you would lose to a fat guy.
You look like an inbred fat retard.
Yeah. You'd lose to a
Inbred fat retard. You look like an inbred fat retard.
You're scared of fat.
You can't see it, but Dylan did the most Chad thing ever. Dylan Burns stood up, lifted up his shirt to reveal his stomach, and then grabbed his stomach and was like, "You'd lose to a fat guy? You'd lose to a fat guy?" And then you can't see it, but the guy that was helping, I can't remember his name. He was really cool. I think his name was Bob. Yeah, his name was Bob. Bob, the guy that was helping Modern Day Debate set up the event, had to get like in the way of them and like separate them. So that's why he's in front of the camera and you can't see it. But like Haas literally was like the guy had to get up and get in between them. Because Haas like legitimately was trying to start a fight with this guy. I know Haas is like a unique example, but I feel like this is an extreme example of a more like of a tendency that I've seen in this space for a long time. And to be clear, I'm not talking about the woke skulls that call me racist or misogynistic or transphobic for whatever cut out of context clip or lie or rumor they heard online. I'm talking about the people that are like grown-ass men on the left that seem hyper-fixated on dunking on particularly younger dudes when said younger dudes have not done anything proportionally warranting said criticism. Because that's what I always hear, right? Isn't that what you always hear, chat? Why do people who criticize Zan, why are they after him so hard? They don't go after anybody else nearly this hard. It's always like, this content creator went after this Nazi and was way nicer and made like a much shorter video, but his video going after Zan is like so long. It's so like deranged, like personal attacks and the speculation on personal life and stuff like that. That's more so referring to the DJ Mule video, but like, I mean, there's plenty of people who've done this weird parasocial dives into my social life, speculation about like my relationships and about like my mental health and stability, like just my like weird oversteps into advice and like questions and weird searches into my finances that seem to be unique to me because I'm a younger guy that doesn't have as much financial experience. They seem to want to like gain shots and jabs at me out of mistakes I make financially because I'm a younger guy with less experience. I've legitimately seen that, by the way. Like, I legitimately, in Chud Logic's chat, legitimately read that that U.S. school systems not teaching you how to, like, do basic finances and adulting is not an excuse for not knowing how to do it out of high school. I'm imagining there are a bunch of British people who are taught how to do these things in chat who's like, wait, they have their taxes done for them in Europe too. God, such a weird thing. Yeah, I had like people in Chud Logic's chat going after me with those types of attacks. It's really weird. Yeah, a very common one. Destiny's community pushes this one. The idea that I don't have a bank account. I acknowledged it in my video debunking the accusations from Lonnie because it was one of the common things, but like, I've had a bank account since I was 16 years old. I've seen DGGers particularly saying like, get a bank account, Xan. For God's sake, Xan, get a bank account. It's like, what do you think you're doing right now? What kind of jab do you think this is? Like, I've had a bank account since I was 16. You're just making shit up. It's very bizarre. The amount of like weird searches and like inquiries into like how my financial situation, the judgment, the like weird, like it's stuff that is so uniquely aimed at people who are younger. Criticisms that are specifically convenient to levy at somebody who you have no arguments against other than I'm older than this person with more life experience, so let me nitpick things that don't matter that are easy to try to discredit this figure. Try to belittle this figure for their age and discredit them despite the fact they have no arguments to actually go against anything they stand for or believe in. That's what it is. I've seen it for a while. PayPal is not a bank. I'm not talking about PayPal. I'm talking about a bank account, Coin Dog. Once again, people just assuming. Someone in chat just said PayPal is not a bank, assuming my PayPal account is the bank that I use. People really, really feel comfortable just like making these broad, weird assumptions about my financial situation. I have a PayPal account and a bank account. When referring to bank account, I've had a bank since I was 16. I'm referring to a bank account, as in a bank. You know? A bank. Like an actual bank. When I say bank, I mean bank. When I say PayPal, I mean PayPal. So that right there is just an example of like the weird, like, I know better than you and I'm going to talk down to you because you're a young, inexperienced Zoomer type of criticism that I get. It is legitimately, yeah, point taken. Right there, I could literally have not be happier than to see a perfect example of what I'm talking about, this weird passive-aggressive belittlement that I get all the time, than it just happening in my chat right then and there. Thank you so much, CoinDog, for literally giving me an example for the video. I really appreciate it, because my point probably would not have been as strong without it. Yeah, the guys in YouTube chat. With that said, it's classist also. It is definitely classist to a degree as well. Like, you have to have been brought up by, you know, a family and parents that know quite a bit about finances and know what they're doing to even have that basic knowledge. And to even have the knowledge to know where to look to acquire it yourself, you have to have, like, that basic level. But regardless, I'm not going to dwell on it too much longer. I just, I had a lot of people yesterday in particular asking me to either cover the video or to talk about the Xanderhal derangement syndrome and like this weird, unique, like bizarre attacks that I get. Like, I know that Shuon had in particular like said, Xan, why are the people that go after you so uniquely deranged? And I was like, I'll do a segment talking about it. Like, so this is that. This is why I think that people have a unique, and I'm not referring to the general broad criticisms that everybody that does what I do gets. I'm referring to the uniquely, the attacks and the weird criticisms that are unique to me, and in some cases also Dylan Burns. Because Dylan Burns is also, I think I'm like a year older than Dylan Burns, so like we're in the same age bracket and we get like the same level of shit, you know? The same shit I was getting a year ago, Dylan Burns is getting now, you know? So yeah, with that said, if you enjoyed this segment, then please consider leaving a like. I really appreciate it. If you watched all the way to the end, then, I don't know, comment down below, ageism is cringe. It'll tell me you watched the whole segment. If you want to support me and make sure that my videos, my streams, my VODs, etc. continue to do well and continue to get views and continue to get pushed in the YouTube algorithm, then please consider dropping a like. It's simply hitting that thumbs up button is completely free, takes half a second, you'll burn less than a calorie doing it, and it helps me more than you can even imagine. Do not let the tragedy of the comments happen. Do not think that everyone else will like the video for you and you don't have to. Every single individual like helps. That one like that you're just like, my like doesn't matter. It does. That one like, 188 likes is not, 189 likes is better than 188 likes, significantly so. So drop that like if you want to help me out. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you want to see more from me here on YouTube, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications. And of course, follow my social media, linked down below, to see more of me on the internet, including my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and my fan Discord, where I play video games and do watch parties and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And finally, of course, if you want to support me financially directly, you can do so on my website, xanderhal.com/live, or my YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, or Patreon. As always, any financial support, direct or frankly, even if you indirectly support me in the form of a view, a comment, or a like, really does help me out. I'm saving up money right now to move up to Seattle and rent a house and start incorporating all sorts of new elements in my content that's just going to make it a whole lot fucking better. This includes the quail, obviously, but I've got a lot of other cool stuff in mind that you guys don't even know about yet. Seattle is the promised land right now. So yeah, any support that you guys are willing to offer, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.